Is my mic hooked up? Yeah. I'm still sick AF. My final is soon. But such is life. Okay. Where? What was I doing? Oh, I was muting. How can you be more than 100% of the CPU? That doesn't make sense. What's up, Mr. Creature? com.apple.we, what is that? You gonna say? Nope. Did I manage to set up type snippets? I have a couple of type snippets, but honestly I'm using like variables rather than snippets these days. If you want to see my like, this is basically all the common snippets I have. I have like I for implies, I think. I also have like L maybe, no, V for variable, which is kind of nice. Wait, what the heck? What? I just hit Control B and it inserted that. I'm gonna check the Vim help for that. Control B. Does anyone know what Control B does? Control B. Scroll window, count pages upwards in buffer. I guess it would be I. Control B. It's not a thing. But I swear I hit Control B and it's inserting dap toggle breakpoint. Oh. Oh boy. So they did not write this plugin with the most edge case checking in the world, did they? That's that issue. The robotics class is in school, and it's honestly like, it's not the craziest class ever. It's not, moves a little slow. for my taste, but that's all right. What's up? How do you say your name? Rezvin? Sioyek user? How do you say that, Sioyek? Yeah, I love Sioyek. Oh my god, is Sioyek awesome. Just look at this thing. Oh, it's so nice. You can jump to all the different parts of the textbook. It's so much better than Zathra. Do I use types for note-taking? Not really. Like, I don't know. So taking notes like never worked well for me. And I probably just have to keep trying at it, but like Sioyek. But yeah, I'm just not a note-taking person. Like, I'm just like lazy, and like I'm a perfectionist, and whenever I write notes, I'm like, these these notes aren't good. I'm not actually going to review these notes. And so then it just like falls apart after a little while, which is probably a really bad habit, but for like math notes at least, like I don't know, they're not that helpful. Like the textbook is just math notes. It's just like math notes but written by a professional and typeset by a professional. Yeah, and so I end up not doing it, but like I think I'm missing out in some ways, but also in some ways like I feel like I'm not. Like just practicing math over and over again and going to the textbook every time, eventually you start to build this weird like, this is just like intuition and memory, but I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that theorem like based on where it is in the book. Like I remember like there's this one theorem above it that's got like this bold heading and then 3 lines, and then there's one over here that like has an A part and a B part. It's kind of like in programming where you start to like visually remember areas of code. You're like, oh yeah, that's where that like really long line with all the strings was. And like I kind of I don't know, I have a very visual way of remembering things, and notes I just haven't been able to get to stick easily. Numerical analysis. Is numerical analysis like methods of estimating and computing stuff, or no? Exercises are more important, yeah. Do I have another browser open that's playing music? No, I'm pretty sure you're just trolling me. I don't. Approximating functions, basically. Yeah, that does sound cool. Someone else to ask some other question. You should talk more about cool projects you're into / happen to find. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna pivot a little bit into, rather than giving my own personal tips, because like now I'm like kind of settling into doing math at least for the time being. I'm gonna do some more software soon, but getting more people's projects and stuff on the channel will be cool. No, this is just a course I took because it seemed kind of cool and I had a few friends in it. Okay, I was like on step. It's a little goofy. It's just like a checklist of random things you have to program, and it's not super hard, but it could be like one shot with an AI, but you know. Okay, call this function. Run, generate, and simulate. Back in generate.py, copy and paste the generated body. Call the function generate brain. Change the start URDF. Okay, delete all the send cube, and okay, I got that. Got this function down here. This shouldn't take that long, and I'll be on to analysis. and then it generates this brain file that just an NDF, neural network description file, that just is that XML tag, I guess. I don't know if this is XML based. Window manager is called Aerospace. Not aerospace, the space. You've probably heard of it. It's getting pretty popular. Swift, native window manager. Oh, what's up, Big Pepe? Unfortunately, I'm doing robotics right now. You're going to be completely out of your element, maybe, unless you can code too. Okay. Okay, you should now have a brain in your file directory found between the start neural network and end calls and generate and this. Oh, I guess I have to end. So I'll do that. Between start and end calls, add this line. Okay. Add sensor neuron. Name 0, link to torso. Okay. As the name implies, receives values from sensors. We're going to name our neurons with numbers because we're going to update the values of each neuron in our neural network every simulation step in a specific order. Sensor neurons first, hidden neurons next, and finally motor neurons. That makes sense. This particular neuron is going to receive a value from sensor stored in torso. Okay. Run generate and check that it caused a change within. Okay. They told me not to, but I'm using UV for this instead of standard Python. It's just like so much nicer. Where's eBang? Look at that, it worked. Seen your roasting videos on personal websites? I don't know. I probably wouldn't roast you that hard. I'm kind of out of that phase of life of being a dick. Doesn't really achieve much, to be honest. It's one of those things where you do know that you'll have to prioritize stuff, but configuring NeoVim is the most autistic thing I need to do to feel at peace. Oh, how do I resist the temptation? Don't, honestly, because I was thinking about this too, and school. This is just like a fact of life for a lot of you, probably NeoVim configurers, that you just like enjoy life when you're producing stuff and when you're like in a flow state configuring things and like making changes for yourself, and like doing something like NeoVim as a hobby is like literally what makes you like satisfied and relaxed. That's like what you're born to do, basically. Well, not specifically configuring NeoVim, but like it's what makes you most comfortable. This looks like a microphone, but it's not. Or is it? And for me, school is like somewhat adjacent to that. Like I enjoy math, and yeah, it's meditative, and computer science. Like those are kind of similar to what I want to do, and they're kind of similar to configuring NeoVim, but they're not the same. And the way you're evaluated on projects in school and like tests, if you're doing math, is like pretty stressful, actually, and not super enjoyable from the perspective of like how you're being evaluated. Like doing this stuff itself is all right. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes there are computer science and math classes I just don't really care about, and then it's just pure stress. So I honestly think like you kind of need to be doing that stuff in order to be productive. At least I do. Like you need to be doing that like Zen configuration stuff on the side, and then it'll help you be more productive in the other stuff. Obviously, you don't want it to like run away with all your time, but I find if I just completely try to suppress that, like it's not good. I need to be yeah. I think it's good if it's a surrogate activity. I mean, it's good if it's 90% done and you can, yeah. I think there's no shame in spending like 5 to 10% of your time configuring Yovim. When am I coming to Russia, gang? I don't know. This guy's trying to bait me into roasting his portfolio so hard. Or TVH, I think if you just Google my name, my website is the first thing that comes up. Scary. Yeah, sorry. I don't roast stuff anymore. That rich guy offering me OnlyFans is still an open offer. I'll take that if I get really desperate. Okay. Run generate.py. Alright, sense, think, act. Now that we've generated one neural network, we are incorporated into our simulated robot. Open simulation.py and add self.robot.think. Okay. What's simulation? Oh, simulate.py. I guess we're running simulation separately. Self.robot. Oh, and this is run. Sense, think, act. I don't think we have a think method yet, so let's go implement it. Where's the robot constructor? Okay. Def think. I'm gonna take a self, and I don't know what else it's gonna take. It's probably gonna tell me. Open robot.py and add this method to robot and just pass for now. And then include this import statement. Oh, I hit GG instead of GO. I'm trying to break that habit, but if you're on Vim, typing GO to go to the top of the file instead of GG is like infinitely better. Never type GG. Because GO is 2 different keys, it's way more efficient. You can also prefix GO with like 10, then it'll jump 10 characters into the file. I don't know why you'd ever want to do that. Damn, open your eyes. You look like you just hit a massive blunt. Do I? I didn't. Yeah, suppressing those feelings is massively bad. And I got that take from, actually, this mentor character I have, he's like, I roasted his portfolio, well, glazed it. He's the doctor, and he's like, he said he has to program in order to make it through med school, because it's like, he's just not able to stay zen without it. Yeah. I feel like people are forgetting the essence of the craft during all of this. It's just an egotistical take. I don't really want... I don't really know where the world is headed. I'm just an observer, yeah. What's with all this blunt language? Thavik, yeah. Thavlik. Is that how you say his last name? Have I been getting that wrong all the time? Thavlik, yeah. Yeah, I have. But holy shit, yeah. This guy is awesome. He knows what's up. I think once you stop suppressing whatever you want to do, will feel like you're standing on a beach in front of the ocean anyway, because you will never complete your urges. think once you stop suppressing whatever you want to do, will feel like you're a man standing on the beach in front of the ocean. What do you mean, feel like a man standing on the beach in front of the ocean? Cool metaphor, but I'm not exactly sure what you're going for. Anyway, because you'll never complete your urges. Got mad philosophers in here right now. And we got Damon Fedoric. He's somewhat of a philosopher too. I swear, Thavlik, your website. I swear that maybe it's still OBS, but it's making my fan spin up. Your animation is like got a memory leak or something. Yeah, I'm pretty good at pronouncing stuff. No biggie. Run simulate.py to ensure you haven't broken anything. I'm not doing that. Include the class neural network from pyrosim. Okay. You're going to add some functionality to the class to close the neural connection between your bot sensors and motor movement. Add self.neural network equals neural network brain dot. Okay. Just in the constructor. Okay. God, why is this so object oriented? Anywhere in the robot's constructor, this will create a neural network. Let's see if the single neuron was added to yourself and incorrectly. Replace the pass and think with self.nn.print. Uppercase print. That's so cursed. Holy shit. Okay, and then probably we want to run this. Okay, yeah, that works. Cool. Run simulate. Yeah, there's a lot of text. Open sensor.py, delete the statement that prints out all the sensor values at the end of the simulation. Yeah, that's not happening. Whatever. Okay. Run simulate again. You'll notice that even if you grab your robot and drag it, the torso, the sensor neuron has not yet changed, obviously. Yep. Dylan 2000. I actually really like that. I think the internet is dying for that kind of well, maybe not. The internet is so big. There's all kinds of characters all over it. You can find like probably 20 Sylvan Franklins and 20 Luke Smiths if you looked hard enough, but yeah, like I do want to start an esoteric podcast about esoteric books I've read. I think that'll truly be the path towards becoming a devout Orthodox Christian who lives in the cabin off-grid, is starting to read those really esoteric books like Origin of Consciousness in the Bicameral Mind. Well, what I meant is when you stop suppressing wanting to do what you want, you'll realize that the things you want to do are basically limited by the physics itself. Try to think about that. instead of that, we want to update. I hate the case, like the uppercase convention here. I guess the robots think method self.update just before the network is printed. What? Update unknown attribute. Okay, well, maybe I just have an outdated version of the library. Open Pyrosim neural network Pi. You'll see the print method, but no update method. There you go. Add one just after print, including just pass for now. All right. Def neural network. Yep. Update. Pass. Cool. Run simulate to ensure you haven't broken anything. Probably haven't, but you never know. Yeah, we're good. Return to Pyrosim neural network Pi and its constructor. You can see the class houses a dictionary of neurons and one synapse. Okay. In update, replace pass with the for loop that iterates over the keys in the dictionary of neurons, and the for loop print the name of the keys. So, for key in self.neurons dot keys, print key. Okay. What is the self.neurons dictionary? Find the place in Pyrosim neural network.py where entries are stored in the dictionary. You will notice that an instance of a class called neuron is created and stored as an entry. This class can be found in pyrosim.neuron.py. Okay, so there's our neuron. The neuron has got a name, a type, search for link name, search for joint name, and a value. And then we can add to the value, we can get the name, just a bunch of getters. Is sensor, so there's sensor hidden in motor neurons, I guess. Determine name, determine type, print name. Okay, pretty simple little class. Yeah, I know J.B. Schultz. Okay, I had a look. When you run simulate now, you can see 0 printed over and over again. This is because the keys in the self.neurons dictionary are the neuron names. Open generate.py to remind yourself that the single neuron has a name of 0. Okay. Now you have 3 touch sensors and 1 sensor neuron. We now have 3 touch sensors and 1. Modify generate brain so that you send 2 additional neurons to brain. A sensor neuron with the name 1 that attaches to the sensor in the back leg, and 1 with the name 2 that attaches to the sensor in the front leg. Okay. Send sensor name 1 front leg, name 2 back leg. Run generate.py and check run simulate. Now you should see 3 neural network, but the sensor neurons are still not being updated. Let's do that now. Okay, let's just run this to make sure it works. Sure does. See the brain. Yep, cool. And then if self.neurons neuron name is sensor neuron, where did we add these keys? In update. Now we want to update the sensor neurons. Okay. If self.neurons at index of key dot is, I'm just copying that. Well, no, never mind. Is dot is sensor neuron. Then we're gonna pass, otherwise we're printing. Open pyrosim neuron py. Remember, this file contains the class neuron. You will see that neuron does indeed have a method is sensor neuron, so we do not need to write that. Okay. Replace the pass above with self.neurons at neuron name.update sensor neuron. Okay. I'm just gonna make this its own variable. Oops. So I don't have to redo that. Current dot update. I hate not having type validation. That makes me very uncomfortable. This language is so butts. Open pyrosim neuron.py again. It does not have a method called update sensor neuron. Add one with a pass in it. Neuron.py. Sensor neuron. Update sensor neuron pass. On top of pyrosim, you will see that it has self.value attribute delete pass and replace it with a statement that uses the method setValue to set the attribute to 0. Self.setValue 0. Wait. Pass and replace it with a value, set value to the attribute to 0. Open sensor and read your code to remind yourself how the class pulls a sensor in a link and stores it in a value, self.values. There, copy the pyrosim get touch call in there and paste it over 0 and update sensor neuron. Okay, I'll do that in a sec, but I haven't read chat in a hot minute. Yeah, the naming, this language is absolutely horrible. How does my left hand feel? Good. What am I gonna do once I finish my degree? Probably like make $1 billion. What's the point of using old Reddit? I'm not a Redditor enough to know about the secret Reddit productivity tricks. It looks cooler. Okay. What am I? Okay. CY. But then you run into a problem wanting to do everything, and it would require much self-awareness to catch yourself from being unproductive. One might confuse activity with productivity. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Like, what if I want to just like slack off all the time? Tinkering stuff along with other obligations, yeah. I've been seeing you for the last 8 to 9 months. You're going places in the long run. I appreciate that. I think you're going places in the long run too. You don't become successful overnight. It takes like a lot of trial and error. You just got to keep going at whatever you're doing. Yeah, I think, what am I going to do after school? To be more specific than just making money, like, probably what I'm going to do is either work at like a reputable company under a mentor, where I can like really mature software wise, or if I can find like a mentorship situation outside of a company or like at a very new company, I would kind of like to like work this startup culture grind for a little bit, honestly. Like, but yeah, my dream job really is to have my own company. I know like that's so, oh my god, we're gonna go to market and be a AI tech startup. It's like, oh god, fucking everyone wants to be an entrepreneur with their own company. I don't strictly want that exactly. And if I were to make like a company, it would be maybe off the back of someone else's idea, not even mine. I'd just be like in a startup with a few guys, probably. But it would have to be someone like I really trust, and it's like a long term project. My friend Eric is doing that right now. He's working on a kind of tool for his company that he's been working on for like 3-4 months, and he just continues to work on it very very diligently all the time, and it slowly gets better. And his plan is to just expand it until it's big enough and viable enough to support him on his own. Yeah, I don't know exactly what. I want to do something cool. I don't want to like go into fake work play. Kind of like, I don't know. Some software jobs I feel are a little bit fake. Like you're not really doing that much. You're just kind of like, yeah, DHH, perfect example. That's like the ideal software engineer life. But yeah, I would be way more miserable, I think. Like if I worked at Meta or Google and I made like great money, but I didn't do a ton of stuff, or I didn't feel like I was, like I can't deal with people who need to feel smart but like don't actually do much. Stop using Python when this class is over. Sometimes you gotta use Python, man. That's the reality of the situation. It's not that bad. Like it's better than being like I don't know. Like there are worse jobs than writing Python. Okay. You see delete pass and replace it with a statement that sets the value attribute to 0. Okay. Open sensor.py. And read the code to remind yourself how this class pulls a sensor in a link. Okay, get value. Self.value is an index of t is pyrosim.get touch sensor value for link. Oh my god. that name is cursed. Self.link name. And then it saves. Okay, so what's t? Time. Self.value is an index of time. NumPy.zeros. Yes. So this is just a 0 array of like, it's just an array for every generation that'll be zeros, and then we just save the current touch value. Copy the pyrosim.get touch call in there and paste it over the 0 and update touch sensor neuron in pyrosim. Okay. So I'll copy that, and then here in neuron, paste that, but instead it'll be self.values. It's set value, isn't it? Self.link name. Do we have a link name? Get link name. Why? Getters and setters are so fucking dumb. Why do we have to do that? Self.get link name. Seriously, like, how is that a... How is that a thing? And then they're not defined in the constructor? Like, what the fuck? What's pub sub design pattern again? Pub sub. publish subscribe pattern messaging models where publishers send messages to topics. Allows senders to send messages to multiple receivers without needing to know their identifiers. Super important for robotics software. Look how useful it is. Yeah, I guess I'll make another setup video one of these days. People always ask about that, and it's like an easy way to just farm. Noob, son. Just stay tuned if you want to see what setup I have. Okay. Is there an example of pub/sub in this? Like, that's something I need to know. Pub/sub. I guess sensors are publishers and neurons are subscribers or something. Don't waste your time on a harmless video. Just hit the blunt. Are you a stoner, Damon? So you have sensor data like a GPS, which will consistently send latitude, longitude, as long as you want it as a stream, which multiple parts of your code can use without reusing code. So, like, logically, I know what you're saying, but for that to click in my brain, for me to remember that, I have to actually find an instance of it in this program that I see that actually happening, so I know what it looks like. Then I'll remember it. So if you see that at some point in this repository, point it out. Are you the Russian guy who, like, donates lots of money in exchange for my OnlyFans? I'm a little suspicious of you. Okay. Real analysis soon, Pepe. There's only 40 more steps. What do you do with all your money when you're not giving it to random twinks on stream? Okay. Copy pyrosim.getTouch and paste it over. Pyrosim.getTouch references self.linkName. Replace it with self.getLinkName because for some reason that's a good pattern. Run simulate.py. Now you should see the values. The 3 sensors are being copied into the 3 sensor neurons during each time step. This means that robot.sense in simulation pulls the sensors and stores their values. This is useful when we want to analyze the sensor values after the simulation ends. We're now also pulling sensors again and storing the results. Okay. And it crashed because I moved it, but that happens sometimes. This is some janky professor's C++ library. Yeah, that's fine. That basically works. It's not really supposed to. No, this is simulated evolutionary robotics. Yeah, the keyboard is $1 billion. And if you don't get that keyboard, you'll never be close to my ability level. Most of my abilities come from the keyboard. Delete pass and replace it with a statement that uses a method set value. Oh, I did that. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Hidden and motor neurons. Return to generate.py. And add send motor neuron, joint name, torso, back leg. Oh shit, that's why that wasn't working. I forgot the torso part. Torso underscore. Okay, cool. So we're adding another one. After you found the sensor neurons, note this motor neuron will send values to the motor controlling joint, torso, back leg. Run generate and have a look at brain.nndf to ensure the motor neuron got sent to that file. Sure. Oh, that shit crashed immediately. Link names to indices. Link name. Torso, front leg. Is that not valid? Torso, front leg. Something's wrong with that. Send motor neuron. It is wrong. That's a motor neuron, that's a sensor neuron. But we should be good now. Nice, it got added. What the hell is that snake case, uppercase naming thing? It's not my code, I'll say that. How did you make all your money, Vladimir? Is it from blackmailing all the twinks that you buy illicit pictures from? And you dress like poor again. I don't know. Not every day is a special occasion here. If you dress well, it's like in America, it's like it's weird to dress well. Like the kids who dress well are like they're like on drugs or something. If you wear a nice shirt, people are like that I can't answer. I knew you were doing that. I knew it. No, that's why I don't sell pictures of myself naked. Yet. If I get desperate enough, I might. So stay tuned. Note that the motor neuron. Brain, yeah, whatever, it totally did. Run simulate, you should see that nn.print now prints the value of the new neuron. Do you understand why this value remains at 0? Why does it? Is it because it's not touching the ground because it's a joint? Call that motor neurons and hidden neurons are updated based on the value of neurons that are connected to them by synapses, since this neuron has no synapse connected to it. Oh. Yeah, that was better. do you mean that's not normal dress? This is like a cashmere sweater. This is a fairly nice thing to wear. This is like academia core, kind of. Yeah, I don't really get it either. Yeah, I'm happy to have Vlad back. He's a funny guy. And he's a developer, too, which is crazy. Although he does seem to have an ego about having a lot of money. Although, okay, run generate.py and no. What are we doing? Back in generate, add a new statement, generate a second motor neuron with name 4 to control the motor attached to torso front leg. Okay. Yeah, it's not. I'm not scared to do that. It's just like, well, I guess you could say scared. It's like I just don't want that liability. I don't want like blackmail backdoor. Like that's just not worth the money. The peace of mind is more valuable to me. Though no synapses. Although no synapses arrive at either of these two motors, we'll now add some code for updating these neurons in neural network update function. Add an else and if. This will cause a trigger if the current neuron is not a sensor neuron. That is, if it's hidden or motor neuron. So include. Okay. So else, do that. And we called this current. CT underscore. Damn it. C underscore. Nope. CT dot. There we go. Current. I don't think this is a function yet. Update hidden or motor neuron, because this wasn't. So what did we call this? Update sensor neuron. Yeah. Update hidden or, oh my god, capitalizing or is so cursed. Neuron. We call that self.neuron. Neuron name is an instance of neurons stored in a directory, dictionary self.neurons. Add a neuron to the name to pyrosim neuron and include just a pass statement. Run simulate. No, I'm not doing that. Inside update hidden using neuron set value. Set the value to 0. This is to prepare for computing a weighted sum here. This weight of each incoming synapse by the value of the synapse's presynaptic neuron. We do not remember what this term is yet. Search for a presynaptic. Oh, if you do not remember, presynaptic neuron on this page, I think I got it. There is no weighted sum to compute yet because there is no incoming synapses, so self.value is 0. Instead, let us connect each motor neuron to the motor it should control. You could program a tumor. Yeah, I'll see that as my. Is Jai T in chat with us? Who's Jai T? Start with something easy emotionally. Doing transforms with all the links. I think so. I'm not sure what you mean by From open loop to almost closed loop. Read act in robot.py. Okay. Act. What does act do? It sets values to t and self. Okay, wait. So it goes through all our motors, or it goes through all our joints, and then sets the value to t. Hold on, there's too much sun in my eyes. Oh, man. And I gotta blow my nose again. I hate this. Sick AF. Pretty sure that a neuron is just a node in a weighted directed graph. Yeah, you're correct. Yeah. That's a good way to look at it. Although, directed, yeah, I guess it's directed. Some of them just are like interconnected and stuff. No, that's not a deal. What psycho uses 2 hands to blow their nose? I'm not doing anything. Okay, act. We're going to discard motor values and use values from the motor neurons instead. We'll start doing so by altering the robot's act method. Okay, so at the beginning of the method, assuming we're for neuron name in self.nn.get neuron names. We'll iterate over all the neurons in the neural network. You'll need to add a method that returns all the neuron names. Okay. Def get, what was it called? Get neuron names. Probably needs 4. Keys? No. What's a neuron exactly? Determine name? Seriously? Oh my god. Determine, wait. Name, get name. Okay, I just have to call it get name. Self dot, well, n for n in self dot neurons. Get name. Maybe it's a capital G. Get underscore name. Okay. Hopefully that works. Life isn't fun when you don't take any risks. Yeah, but dude, you could ruin my reputation. Three hands nose blowing his tech. Oh man, I have a good audience. You meet some really interesting characters doing this nonsense. Yeah, but I don't know. It's still like, I just feel weird about that, man. Get name. Not get name or get name. No. Get name uppercase and snake case, snake camel case. But it's Pascal case. Snake Pascal case. You're not gonna convince me, dude. I'm sorry. So we'll iterate over all the neurons in the neural network. You can do this using the keys method. Oh. Well, I thought my method was required. Are the keys just... Be nice to be able to check this with like a quick debug. I don't really know how to Python. I don't think I have a Python debugger set up. Yeah, bro, money's the source of all evil. Just hit a blunt. You'll do so by using the keys method. Inside the for loop, print the current neuron name. Where even were we? Oh. Okay. Print neuron name. Okay. Run simulate. Do you see what you're expecting? If not, debug. Get name. String object has no attribute. Get name. Okay, I fucked that up. Why? I thought this self.neurons was a... Okay, how about that? How about what they suggest? Oh, what do you know? It works. Do a live JavaScript stream. Donations will roll in. The Satan stack. What's the Satan stack? Tan stack? Yeah, no, it's just basic Python today. We're only going to need the motors neuron, so include if self.nn is motor neuron, and move the print statement. Okay. All right, boss, whatever you say. Oops, wrong place. Where was I? If self.nn is motor neuron. Do we have to implement this too? You'll need it. God damn it. Self.nn that is motor neuron. Fucking hell. They're making me do so much work. Is motor neuron. And I'm guessing... call it in. Neuron name. If self.neurons at or at n dot is. This is so stupid. I hate this. Now I have to pass this through to this class. Is sensor neuron, is hidden neuron, is motor neuron. God damn it. This is so dumb. Is, it's just a wrapper. Why is this a method? Why do I have to implement this? Did they seriously make me do that? You need to add this method to neural network as well. You need to call neurons get joint name method? What? What the fuck? You will need to call neurons get joint method. Wait, why? You need to add this method to neural network as well. Get motor neurons. Oh, get motor. Get motor neurons joint. Okay, it's slightly different than that. And then you pass in the neuron name. And then we return. I'm calling it in. I'm not spelling neuron. Neurons get joint name method. Not is motor neuron. Get. Wait. No. I skipped a bunch of steps. That was correct. I'm just reading ahead too much. This is hideous. Okay. Is motor neuron. You'll need to add this hint. Neural network is motor neuron method should call... No, why? Why can't you just call it directly? Oh my god. Now, like, there's 2 layers at which this could fail. I mean, technically not, but it's going to get way harder to reason about. Oh yeah, C is infinitely better than this. Yes, if this statement, we need to extract the name of the joint to which the motor neuron connects. Do so by adding joint name equals self dot. Okay. In this if statement, we need to know the exact name of the joint to which the motor neuron connects. Just before the print statement is called. Okay. Now we have to implement get motor neuron joint. Oops. I had that in my register somewhere. Registers get motor neuron joint. No, that was too much work. I'm just typing it. Okay, cool. Now what we have to do extract the exact name of the joint to which the motor connects. You'll need to add get joint name method. Okay, so what does get joint do? Get joint name. Get joint name. So we're just doing a basic pass through again, right? Oh, I have to return this. Return self.get or self.neurons index of n dot get joint name. Oh my god, this is bad. Add joint name to the print statement. Okay. It sucks that all these names are just numbers too, because like I have no idea. Get motor neurons joint. Get motor neurons joint. Get motor neuron joint. It's got an S because it's possessive. Oh my god. Yes, I'm ill. I really love how Vladimir like isn't just here for the OnlyFans. He's like also knows about programming. That's sick. The internet is really a special place. All right, the numbers have changed. That's probably right. There is. When do we meet Miss Franklin? Like, are you talking about my sister? Wow, look at people networking in chat, getting each other's GitHub. That's sick. Just people doing work together. Just making the capitalist machine go around. You will need to add this method to neural network as well. Everyone share your GitHubs. Well, no, your wife. I don't have a wife currently. I haven't found the right girl yet. I've dabbled, but nothing is nothing permanent's come out of that department of life. Run simulate. Does the printed match what you expect to see? I guess it kind of does. Finally, we need to extract the value of the motor neuron, which we will interpret as the desired angle for this joint. To remind ourselves of this, we will store the extracted value in a variable called desired angle, nn.getValueOf. Oh, that's totally because I didn't print joint name. Get value of. As before, add the statement before, create a new method. Oh my god. Object-oriented programming is killing me. So, what do they want it to be called? Get value of. How descriptive. Get value of is so cursed. Why not just get value? Get value of. Dot get value. I really hate this. This is real bad. Okay, let's see what it is. Yeah, that looks right. Girls aren't ready for you. Yeah, that could be true. No, that's a sweeping generalization also. That can't be true across the board. But yeah, like I'm kind of eccentric in certain ways that certain people find off-putting, but so I guess I somewhat see what you mean, but okay. Run simulate.py. Does the printed material match what you're expected to see? If not, debug. You need to call neurons get joint name method, blah blah blah. Create the new method again. Run simulate. Now you're ready to pass the desired angle to the appropriate motor. Copy the statements in robots.act that sets the value of the motor attached to the joint called joint name, and paste a copy of it just before the print statement in act. Copy the statement robots.act that sets the value. Paste the copy of it just before the print statement. Oh, you mean like this? Leave the robot self.robot argument, but delete t in the argument and replace it with desired angle. Cool. Open motors.py and find set value in that method's definition. Replace t with desired angle. You can see that t in this method is used to find a value which motor values. Okay, so open motor.py. Set value, and then instead of a t, we want desired angle. Okay. Replace the reference, go back to robot act, and comment out the two statements at the end that iterate that use the old form. Okay, I did that already. You now run simulate, and it should stay dead still. And it crashed. Torso back leg. The girl community won't even know what to do. That's the most chronically online thing I've ever heard, the girl community. Oh my god. That is really funny. Not bashing on you. Okay. Torso back leg. Oh. Run simulate.py. You should see this stays still continuously. Output desired angle of 0. You get the error message at some point. Some students found that changing joint index, joint names to indices, joint name, in set motor for joint, in pyrosim, to joint names to indices, joint name.encode ASCII. Joint index inside robot. In set motor for joint in pyrosim. Pyrosim.py. joint names to indices. Set motor for joint. Set motor for joint. Oh, and then you replace it with that. Probably need a comma. See if that works. Maybe I didn't want to format that whole file. Nope, still crashed. Another student found, note 2, some other students found that joint name, okay, we'll try that. This is a janky ass assignment. Here, try these random things. We have no idea what works. Nope, that crashed too. Note 3, another student found this solution. I'm on an M1 MacBook Air. I've used the B since the beginning. It worked until this assignment. Didn't work. I found that doing does work. I encode. I use the key for motors without getting error, and then decode so it looks expected when printed. Feels janky, but it works. So wait, that is what I'm doing. Encodes in UTF-8. Wait, what am I doing? Self.nn.get. Joint names to indices. This is like the wrong part of the file. Oh, actually, I do want to see Vladimir's. I love that it's spelled with a W. SV. Give that a star. Indeed, SV works, but this tool adds some features that are missing from the original. Cool. Okay. Something is wrong here. If you get an error message at this point, some students have found that changing joint index in set motor for joint in PyroSim to encode to ASCII fixed some of the problems. Some others found that self.nn. Try doing that. Maybe they didn't mean actually within this. Maybe they meant within robot. Joint index. Joint name. This is such a janky library. It's using like strings to index stuff. Like that's just strings under the hood are just nasty. Why would you want to work with that? Work with structs and stuff. Let me try that. What do you know? That fixed it. Fuck. It's bot controlled by motor neurons. To verify that the motor neurons are really controlling the motors, go back to pyrosimneuron.py and update hidden or motor neurons. Set the neuron's value to math.py over 4 instead of 0. Okay. Neuron. Set value. And update hidden or motor neuron. .py, probably have to import math. Oh, it's imported. Math.py times 4. What's the robot gonna do? Hey, it's moving. Good thing you can see that well. Anti-immigrant. Nice name. Run simulate. Does the robot do what you expect it to do? Yep. Capture a video of your robot behaving under these conditions. Make sure console can be seen. Upload to YouTube. Create a post on this subreddit. Paste the YouTube URL. Name the post appropriately and submit it. Invitation to the Discord. Yeah, it should be something like XMPP, I think. It would be better to switch to XMPP eventually. It's just, like, it's very accessible for a large amount of people. Like, there are technically very capable people that don't use XMPP, but I guess most technical people are XMPP type people. Discord just has like voice chat and stuff too, and it's got a lot of like plug-in interop that's nice. Yeah, I uninstalled Zathra so fast. Just send me another email, Vladimir, begging your case, and I'll let you in. Just watch your video on your height. I thought you were like 6'4", thanks. Yeah, appreciate it. And I think we're good. Name the post appropriately and submit it. Paste the YouTube URL in the post, name the post appropriately and submit it. Run simulate.py to ensure it returns to immobility. Prepare to act, save values. You can also remove the print statement and the 2 commented outlines from robots act method. Prepare to act. Self.motors. Prepare to act seems kind of necessary. I'm leaving it. Open, since you're no longer using prepare to act and save values, you can delete these methods. Seems like they're pretty useful. I mean, I could move self.motors to the constructor, I guess. But not doing that. thing that throws me off about Sioyek is it is using a lot of function keys, and one of the devs is using VS Code, so I'm not sure how based they are. I think some really fucking based people use VS Code, to be honest. And some of the most based developers I know use JetBrains IDEs. Some people just like not, they never like got obsessed with using Vim, and to be honest, I don't know. I had a mentor who started using Vim again because he found my channel, and then he was like, I'm going to be honest, I'm switching back to VS Code. There's just like a few things that VS Code does well enough. Like, for instance, the LSP situation, and I'm like, ain't nobody wants to learn how to configure that shit. That's bogus. There should just be like a language plugin that works, like JetBrains. Okay, so I gotta submit this, I guess. I guess I'll upload it publicly to YouTube. Leave some crazy comments on this for this instructor. Let me just commit all these things. What assignment number is this? I guess it's neurons. Okay. Let's move this to its own space and then record. Record. Kind of folds in on itself a bit. But other than that, it seems all right. Not sure if that's the desired behavior or not, but not using the git CLI. Okay, well, I'd use the git CLI in almost all cases, except for the fact that just like to add, commit, push is like just, this turns it into like 3 keys. Like, I don't want to deal with adding files manually. Like, everything else for Git, I'm fine in the command line, but adding things I think is just better with a GUI. Yeah. Like, I don't know. When I commit a few files, like I just make a change like that, I make a change like that, I make a change like that. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, what's the status? Okay, git add motor, and like I don't want to have to deal with that. I just want to do like, okay, this bang add commit, or yeah, just select everything, drop. You know, like it's just. You know, alias is a thing in POSIX shells for whatever you're using. Yeah, you could set up a bunch of cool aliases for Git. It's just the adding stuff, I guess, I've found is the best way to do that. And they tried to make it better. There's like a git add -- interactive. And I have nothing going currently. It's not the worst, but it's just not as snappy. I don't know. I got used to lazy Git, unfortunate as that is. All right. I'm gonna move this over to space 5, and then I'm gonna upload that video. Oops, no, don't want to go live. I'm already live. And if you want to like drop some, let's see, where did that go? Pictures. All right, I'll upload that and make it public. I'm gonna monetize it. If my professor has to watch an ad, that would be legendary. Okay, public. Change visibility. That video should be up. And we'll see. Copy the link and then submit it. I'm doing this off screen, but I can put it on screen, I guess. Who or what is shuffling in the background? Probably my roommate. Quebec, you're Canadian. Alright, did this upload? Yeah, it did. Cool. Go drop some weird comments. See if you can. I want this professor to be like, oh, this guy has more followers than me on YouTube. My professor does have a he does have his own channel, so go subscribe to that. If you're interested in evolutionary robotics, he's the guy. He's got some great content on it, actually. But yeah, I think it's worth seeing. All right, finally done with that. I can go on to doing real analysis. You know, Disney also has like this animation. They have like a lot of software engineers at Disney that work on animating things. That would be a really cool job. This is a paper about how they simulated snow. Apparently kind of difficult. You know what's crazy also is my professor, he said he appeared on like a podcast on like a channel that had 20K subscribers and was just like like a random podcast channel, tech podcast channel. And like I have more subscribers than that. I could get my professor on my channel. Although that would be a little weird. I don't know. I'd have to. Maybe I'll email him or ask him. I think it could be cool though. All right, I have to go at like 3 o'clock, or a little before that too, something, but I could fit in a couple hours of analysis. So let's pull up the practice exam. Please don't make me authenticate. Midterm list. Okay, I'm gonna go eat lunch really quick, but I'll be back on stream in a sec. Doing robotics feet. That would be cool. That would be cool.
situation's like super fucked.
Yeah.
So she was like planning on moving.
Wait, close. You might want to close my door. I have a stream playing.
Oh, bro, dude, why don't you just mute yourself?
Oh, that's a good idea.
I'm gonna fucking mute this shit. Yo, what's up, guys? What the fuck? Why does bro not just mute this? Like, all right, that didn't fucking work.
never happened. OBS just quit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Is anyone still here? OBS just died. Oh, Big Pepe is still here. Sick. I just got here. Yeah, this the stream just went down randomly. Oh, people are here. William Things. Jaleska. Cool. Oh, back to real analysis. Haven't been on your stream since the summer. Yeah, that was a wild summer. Ow, that's hot. Analysis. Food. Okay. I just got hypnotized by that selecting animation. I have an appointment at 3 about my ADHD meds, which, based on what I just did there, like zoning out at selecting a piece of text is probably wise. Alright, sequence defined recursively. Determine whether the sequence defined as -1 to the n times n over n plus 1 converges or diverges. Justify your answer. Rigorously. Trying to figure out what one of the best ways or one of the best questions to do would be. These are not too hard. Alrighty. Let me check real quick that I submitted that video correctly. This is already deeper commentary on personal growth than 90% of your content. This video helped me transcend earthly bounds. What Easter egg. Cool. I hope I make at least a couple of cents from that video. What about question 5? I don't really... Question 5 seems like it could help. Whoa, no way. No way. Philip Jazkovic. Philip Jazkovic. That is unreal. I'm gonna have to do a stream like just configuring everything once I'm past these exams and I can get the vague theme for a PDF. Cyoic is just an amazing piece of software. Let's get this question going. You can write the function in a simpler way. That's the hint I'm going to give. Okay. Let's write that out. Okay, so it's -1 to the n x sub n equals -1 to the n times n over n plus 1. Does this converge? So we want to find a value of big N, or N that's based on an epsilon. Hey, Johnny, somehow you math guys can just smell math. +1 minus 1. Can you simplify this? It's proving convergence for this sequence. +1 minus 1. Trick isn't jumping out at me, to be honest. There is sound I can hear fine. Plug in your headphones. Well, first of all, does this converge or diverge? Seems like it would converge to, like, intuitively this will kind of settle around 1, but the -1 thing will just make it oscillate, but will this eventually get close enough to 1 that those oscillations don't matter? It's a good question. Alright, well, that's not well defined. 0, 0. Epsilon less than 0. Nah, the epsilon should be greater than 0. I'm assuming it converges to 1. So if we just assumed that, it would be like add and subtract 1 from the numerator. Oscillations most definitely matter. And then if we do that, can we split like that? Do parentheses are in the whole thing? Oh, parentheses around the whole thing. So this would end up like this. And I mean, yeah, you could also maybe do that to simplify it a little bit. One minus. Oh, you're right. Yep. Yeah. Okay. 1 minus 1 over n plus 1. If we're working backwards from something, one minus 1 over n plus 1. This is the scratch work. Minus 1 less than epsilon. Any recommendations for real analysis? Honestly, not really, but other people in the chat would probably know better. I'm not like super competent math guy. I mean, the book Understanding Analysis by Stephen Abbott is what I'm using. It's pretty good. Oh my god, yeah, there is that to worry about. Just, okay. So, and that's not correct. How are we gonna do this? How is this going to work? Yeah, this is... Because the -1 is inside the absolute value. I mean, so the -1 doesn't do a whole lot to the outside of this. Like, well, actually, no, that's not entirely true. Because if that's negative and then we subtract 1 from it, that's like adding 1. But if it's positive and we subtract 1 from it, it's like subtracting 1. With this interior part. Think about what the answer is before proceeding. I mean, think about what the answer is. I guess don't worry about epsilon or anything right now. Just think about the sequence. It's 1 minus something. So I mean, this part of the sequence is going to 0. Its distance away from 1 is going to 0. but its overall like trajectory is like problematic, I guess, because this -1 thing going on that it's got is modifying this 1. So like if it's converging to 0, so if it were just if this like we're going to 0, we wouldn't have a problem, but because it's 1 and it's getting closer and closer to 1 the farther we go in the sequence, we're gonna hit a point, like say that epsilon say the epsilon challenge is like 0.1, then we're gonna have a problem. I mean, or if the epsilon is really small, if the epsilon is smaller than 1, then there's gonna be like -1, 1 kind of thing going on. Yeah, you could write a mini script to generate values. Well, like, I think looking at this, what we should see if this doesn't glitch out is like, let's actually show a negative version of this. Like it's gonna like bounce between these two values. And as we get farther and farther. But if we're like, oh, can we get an error estimate of 1/2? Like, can you be within that? No, you can't be within that. So it seems like it diverges. Would I be interested in cave diving? Yeah, dude. That's what little guys are all about. I would love to go cave diving. And Sarah says, if a sequence is not Cauchy, it doesn't converge by contrapositive. Therefore, we can prove the sequence is not Cauchy. And Cauchy is just... Cauchy is like convergence, but just like the the difference between the term and the next term should be bounded by some kind of epsilon. Let me just double check that with Sioyek. T. Cauchy sequences. I love that feature. This thing got me smiling ear to ear. Holy. Cauchy. Yeah. Cauchy. Try to complete the line of thought. Okay. Thanks for keeping me on track. Well, I mean, I'm a little rusty on showing divergence, but like, so the definition of convergence is there exists an epsilon. Let me, there exists an epsilon greater than 0 such that for all n greater than, well, for all n, this is convergence. N greater than n, or like, xn minus the limit is less than epsilon implies n greater than n. Or, I guess, divergence, Abbott's book has nice criteria. If a sequence converges, then its subsequence must converge to the same limit. So if you produce two subsequences with different limits, that's enough to show divergence. I want to look at what Abbott's book says about it, too. Oops. Sometimes Sioyek just does that. Divergence. Divergence. Subsequences of a convergent sequence converge to the same limit as the original sequence. Welcome back, Damon. Yeah, for all n, there exists a natural number n. But there's like a way you can, I don't know, Johnny was showing me this before, like, the implication kind of works it in there, but so divergence, finding two convergent subsequences, two subsequences with different limits. So how do you produce two subsequences? I mean, what about so let's think about this. If it's basically going to involve even and odd powers, I would guess. So like, if there's an even number of negative ones, then we have a positive value. So we could say 2, 4, 6, 8. Like, we could say our sequences are 1 minus 1/3, which would be 2/3. 1 minus 1/4. 1 minus 1/5. Dot dot dot. 1 minus. Oh no, not 1/5, 1/6. Sorry. 1 minus 1/2 to the 2n. Which converges to 1. And then the negative equivalent, which would be negative 1 minus, oh, this should be, oh, no, it's plus 1, it's plus 1. So if we pick 2, if we pick 5, if we pick, let's see, 2, 4, 6, so this would be 7. And it would be 2n plus 1, I guess. And then if we pick 1, we're going to have negative 1/2. If we pick 3, we're going to have negative 1/4. If we pick 5, we're going to have negative 1/6. all the way up to negative 1 minus 2n, which converges to negative 1. All right, and then just definite. Awesome. Could you say hi, Theo? What's up, Theo? Your sequence is the standard example for accumulation points. What's an accumulation point again? Same as a limit point. It's where, yeah, limits converge to. Is my telescope view ascending or descending? I think ascending. I prefer it like that. Yeah, thanks, Big Pepe. I'm practicing. I'm studying for my real analysis exam. Okay, what about the geometric series r to the n? Converging if and only if try that one, I suppose. Prove that the geometric series r to the n converges if and only if r is less than 1. That's the standard trick for proving divergence. All right. If and only if r is less than 1. And in that case, find its sum. Okay. Yes, it's the cleanest way. Okay. I'll keep that in mind, yeah. The geometric series... okay. So in other words, 1/2 to the 1 plus 1/2 to the 2 plus 1/2 to the 3. You should use Cauchy criterion corollary. If the limit is not equal to 0, then the series diverges. The reverse logic applies. Let me... Sioyak does crash sometimes. I must say, Zathra does not really crash. Cauchy criterion corollary. Follows that oh, are you talking about in divergence? If the limit is not equal to 0, then the series diverges. Apply the reverse logic. By Cauchy's meaning for a series, not sequence. I'll look into VHDL real quick, yeah, before I start this next. VHDL. Hardware description language? No, but that sounds really cool. I'm not really in hardware. I might be eventually. But yeah, that seems awesome. To use Cauchy criterion on the problem would be noticing that difference between odd and even powers is bounded below. Again, same observation, the sequence is oscillating. Do you use the dev branch of Syoyek? No, well, I just installed it. I'm using 2.0. I kind of wonder if Syoyek issues 200. Oh geez. Oh man. Is anyone still here? My computer just crashed after trying to open Syoyek's GitHub issues. I have to pull chat back up to be able to talk to anyone though. How do I do that? Content, live. Technical details up the wazoo in this stream. Content, live. Mute myself. All right, how do you pop the chat out? Where is the damn chat? There we go. Yeah, geez. So opening just GitHub issues completely crashed that, I guess. That's a bad look for CO Yek. All right. Why is this not in space 1? What's going on with my window manager? Are you doing another number theory stream? I sure am. Number theory is getting hardcore streamed. I use Firefox. I think my window manager is not running. Or it's broken or something. There we go. What is going on? Can't you guys be in space 1? This literally will not let me put 2 things in space 1. Space 1 like special or something? Okay, how about space 2? Are you in space 2? There we go. And I lost my chat again. Damn it. What's the quickest way to pull that up? Like that, I guess. There we go. Nice. You should try the Helium browser. Helium browser. I've looked at this before. Thought on flash.nfm? Yeah, I might use Flash. I might look at this too, Helium browser. It doesn't look bad. I'll install it at least. Assuming that's what it's called. Helium. Helium is built for Rosetta 2, Chromium based. Okay, which one is it? That's a cask. Alright, I'm getting back to math. Because I'd rather pass this exam than have a slightly more optimal browser, believe it or not. Okay, proving that the sum of n to, or r to the n converges if and only if r less than 1. Not installing that normally. Are you kidding me? Please connect your Android to USB. That was the wrong Helium. I'll do that another time, whatever. So given that r is less than 1, so the sum of geometric series can be written as 1 over 1 minus r. Let's think of that as a partial sum sequence. If r is less than 1, then the sequence converges, which means the series itself converges, and thus tells us the sum can be calculated whenever. Give out free answers. Oh, all the math guys are back. Awesome. I'm not taking your answer, but I appreciate the using the formula for the sum of a geometric series is the idea. Proving that if and only if r is less than 1, so I might be wrong, but this one to me reads like, if it's a partial series, it's an increasing series, and if we can show it's bounded above, then it'll be convergent. And we would have r to the 1 plus r2 plus r3. I don't really see easily how to say that that's bounded, though. Like, there's the trick of saying that certain things are bounded, but yeah, I don't. Not increasing, it can be negative. Ooh, that's a good point. That's a great point, actually. Why don't Americans use that R can also be in abs as an absolute R? Easier to simplify this by factoring or knowing the formula for sum of the first n terms of a geometric series. Doesn't always converge if it's negative, though. Want to argue about it? Ah, 1 negative 1. Okay. Rewriting it as the knowing the first n terms of a geometric series. One over 1 minus r. Oops. One minus r to the n over r times r Agree with Big Pepe. You should think of the binomial theorem and some kind of factoring. Now rewrite. Since you're given r is less than 1. I don't see what you mean with another expression for the nth term of the sequence. Should think of binomial theorem as some kind of factor. The limit of Rn is 0. What did you mean about binomial theorem, though? Would you get something? So this term in here just goes to 1. So you get something like this. Take 1 over r as common. You will see it. All right, so if our nth term is given by 1 over 1 minus the rate, That expression is for the partial sums. Wait, oh, Alexander. Bro is not listening. Wait. Hold on. I don't understand this algebraic jump especially. So this is our representation of partial sums, which would give us r to the 1 times this, but how would you get that simplification if r is less than 1? That doesn't, like, you've got an extra r to account for. I kind of understand this term would go to 0, but not really, honestly. Okay, to arrive at what you looked up, you can note that 1 minus Rn equals 1 minus R times 1 plus R to the n minus 1. Damn, I always forget about that factorization. Note that there's a typo in how you've written it down. Equals 1 minus R times that whole expansion. I'm not getting that though. Like, why is that expansion relevant? What happens to the expression when n blows up? Your answer should depend on the value of r. Supposedly, you'd have an n and an expression that depends on n. Yeah, supposedly you would. Supposedly you'd have that. I don't understand this simplification yet. Supposedly that's the sum of the right is exactly the n minus 1th term in our geometric series. So the n minus 1th term of our series is 1 minus r to the n over 1 minus r. You gain the second sequence from the first when r approaches infinity, or when n approaches infinity. Okay. I think technically you've got an n where you should have an n plus 1 in your Sn expression. I think you should try to step through one of the derivations of this. Got an n where you should have an n plus 1. Derivation of what? You mean the formula for the sum of the geometric series? Because, yeah, that is kind of coming out of nowhere for me. Got an n where you should actually have an n plus 1 in your Sn expression. I would kind of like to derive how that actually works, just to build the intuition, because otherwise I think I'm going to be lost. Let's comment this stuff out. So, what would this look like? And how would we get there? You okay with this form of Sn? Well, I'd rather prove it myself if it's not too cumbersome. We're looking at like r to the 1 plus r2 plus dot. And ordinarily, well, what is the question actually asking? Please don't make me two-factor. Okay. Oh, that's the wrong document. We actually have n equals 0, which I think I wrote down wrong, which would be nice, because then we just have a 1, and that simplifies this final form too, which I prefer. Okay. Actually not that bad. Just remember, a to the n minus b to the n is a minus b times a bunch of shit. Okay, it's actually not that bad. Call the expression Sn, multiply both sides by r, then do algebra. Oh, my previous messages tell you how to derive it. Okay. All right, so we have a bunch of r's. S sub n equals that bunch of r's. Multiply both sides by r. Why do people keep comparing me to Face IQ? Multiply both sides by r. Take r common. What does take r common mean? Multiply both sides by r? Like, why? Oh, shit. I'm actually quadruple majoring because I'm in at the University of Vermont. I'm majoring in small gourds and mushrooms. Festive fall foliage major. So that you get this shifted. I see this factorization now. Take blank comment as Indian for factor. Factor R. Factorize R. Factor R on the right. Another good one is into to mean multiplication in all situations. Alexander, how are you versed in like other cultures' math expressions so well? Into to mean multiplication in all situations. That's actually the wrong suggestion. What Johnny was saying, it took me ages to recognize this as the binomial expansion. I did not get that. So, because this... Oh, wait a minute. So this whole thing is the same as like 1 plus r to the n. But how do we get there? One minus r times 1 plus r all the way up to the n minus 1. As I said, the first step in finding another expression then divide by 1 minus r. What's Sn 1 minus r? Same place is not funny, bro. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's funny. Is this blasphemy on my screen? Sn times 1 minus r equals 1 minus r to the n plus 1. Do Sn times 1 minus r. I mean, like, but how do we get that? Okay, I'm wrong about 1 plus r to the n. Doesn't matter what the abs result is for the term if you don't need to. They cancel out. 1 minus r. Wait a minute. Okay, I somewhat see what you're saying now. Yeah, that is whack as hell, sorry. So you're saying if we have this and we multiply by 1 minus r, we have to recognize that this right here is the factorization of 1 minus r to the n. Well, 1 to the n minus r to the n. And then dividing, we would get something like that. And then this is obviously going to cancel. Oh, geez Louise. Technically, no, I think you're paying too much faith in these magical algebraic identities. You should get 1 minus r to the n plus 1 instead, though. Why? Is that just the algebraic identity? I mean, that's... I also feel like I'm putting too much faith in that. Look at the degree of the biggest term. Well, it's n. Oh, shit. Yeah, thanks. And it would be to the n plus 1 under that factorization. Okay, so that's the term for our partial sum. What does that tell us, though? The idea is that the middle stuff all cancels out after you expand. It's just what it multiplies out to. You can do what Alex is trying to say, but it comes down to the same thing. Think about the limit. The idea is that the middle stuff cancels out after you expand. Sn times 1 and Sn times 1 are the same modulo 1 and Rn. The idea is the middle stuff all cancels out after you expand. The middle stuff all cancels out after you expand. What is the coefficient for R after you expand? I mean, it's just 1? Like, what do you mean, expand? Sn times 1 and Sn times R are the same modulo 1 and Rn. It's just what it multiplies out to. The idea is that the middle stuff all cancels out after you expand, just as what it multiplies out to. No, it's 0. Because there's no R in 1 minus, question is why. What's the coefficient for R? Is 0 when n is large. Try and multiply it yourself and you'll see a pattern. I mean, so R is less than 1. And subtract the 2 lines. Man, I am very confused. No, I understand where the formula comes from. I'm now trying to understand convergence. Oh, that's what you're talking about. What's the coefficient for R after you expand? I understand the algebra, I think. And just think of Sn like any sequence. And prove it's convergent. Well, the question is asking, yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. If r is less than 1, want to show it's convergent, and if r is greater than 1, show it's divergent. And this is going to converge to 1. Okay. Sn partial series of sums of r to the n So now we want to find an epsilon that will give us a value of n. So if working backwards, if this is less than epsilon, well, this minus what it converges to, which I guess is 1. Well, no, it'll converge to what will it exactly converge to? Yeah, I can make a video about robotics. Okay. Sylvanfranklin, you should visualize this. How so? Say r is 0.5. So the value of r does change what this converges to. I don't actually need to find that limit though. I'm just a little confused with the algebra. But I guess for now I can just leave it like that. So could we rearrange this a bit. Plus L times 1 minus R nah, that gets a little too awkward, honestly. I don't know about doing that. The amount of work is not the only thing to think about. That's a very Eastern European or possibly Asian mindset. It's weird that Alexander is like very racially, like, are you using racial cognitive theory or something? What it converges to is a simple limit. One over 0.5, but the limit is changing depending on R. It's cultural. Yeah, I'm not hating on it. You might be right, I don't know, but yeah, the solution to this algebra isn't jumping out at me. So yes, we want to find the limit of 1 minus R to the n over 1 minus R. Ah, in terms of R. Yeah. Sweet. Well, if R is greater than 1, Rn explodes to infinity. So in this case it doesn't, but what does it converge to? It converges to well, can we get a value of that? Bro, what's your value? Uh, 0.5, what are we looking at? It's approaching 2. So it looks like it's approaching 2R. I should be able to do this limit algebra way easier, but if R is 0. R is 1/3. Yeah, we're approaching 2/3. So then, if our limit is 2R, does that change the algebra? could multiply this and put it on top. Does that help? Not visibly. Convert just to 1 over 1 minus r. Wait a minute. Are you kidding me? Converges to 1 over 1 minus r. Oh, yeah, obviously. Duh. Man. I mean, that's a bit nicer. Because that we can just cancel. Well, I'll do this in a separate line. That we can just cancel like that. You need to think of limits intuitively. Well, when someone says just use such and such without any consideration for the ideas it actually invokes in your mind, you know something about how they were trained. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point, and people do show up and do that. You have to understand why it's applicable in the case and what the goal is to use it. Keep getting smaller in absolute value because of repetitive multiplication, so Rn goes to 0 regardless. And then you push back and say, well, my way is less work. Look, they don't show you half the page of scribbles that tells you even more. Converges to 1 over 1 minus r. But in these trivial proofs, it's not much structure. It's only 2 lines. Oh, I see what you're saying now about what Rodrigo's problem-solving methodology is. Yeah. I see. That is very interesting. All right. I have to get to my appointment soonish, so I want to make sure to finish up this problem. Then can we multiply by 1 minus r? And then take the logarithm log base r. Or is that super cursed? Log base r of r is just 1. So then we'd get something like that. You just needed to know the results from geometric sequences and para-sequence converges. Base is irrelevant because you're solving for n. So we have an n. Man, I don't know if I've ever seen a stream with a better comment section. This is awesome. E to the pi square root 163 is really close to being an integer. There's no coincidence, and the beautiful theory of complex multiplication is behind this. Wait till you try e to the pi square root 164, though. All right, so in our proof, we will show that Sn converges. Choose n equals n log absolute value r epsilon 1 minus r. So then I just got to do this scratch work steps backwards. Now n is less than, n is greater than log r, log absolute value r, epsilon 1 minus r. Now let's make this multi-line. Are you assuming r to be real in this proof? Yeah, we are. The result is true for complex r, but using logs sometimes far more complicated in the complex cases. Yes, we're assuming realness. Absolute value r to the n is less than epsilon 1 minus r, and now r to the n over 1 minus r is less than epsilon, which implies minus 1 over minus r. Oh, absolute values are in an absolutely nasty place. Absolute value across the equal sign. That's insidious. Absolute yikes. Yikes moment. You can't play with the absolute value like this. You need to get rid of it before applying the log. You need to get rid of it before applying the log? What do you mean? confused by that. A newer rock. You finally used 2 hands to sneeze. You're just watching for that? That's diabolical. I'll be back in 1 sec. I just have to pee, but I want to make sure that solution is fine. Ugh. Just double check the steps, not sure. I did double check them. This proof would never cross my mind. That's because this is now second nature to you. It's similar with expert chess players in certain moves. What do you do about it? This is such a fascinating conversation going on between Rodrigo and Alexander. Yeah, no, wrong. Should be... Oh. Yeah, you're right. It should be less than epsilon. Why is it backwards, though? So that's what I'm picking my n to be. Then an n is bigger than that. And then solving for epsilon, yeah, it gives me the completely wrong definition. Where did I go wrong? That minus that will show the ascent convergence. Because you're getting rid of the minus sign. and then removed the absolute value when you were reverse engineering. Also, you should put absolute values around when taking the log. Let's check my reverse engineering. Because, yeah, I often feel like, whoa, that's freaky. Look at that little, there's like a little window into what I'm doing there. I don't know, that's kind of cool. Is what it is. 1 minus r is a negative. If r, then taking the exponent with r flips the sign. You copied wrong from the reverse engineering. Hold on 1 sec. Yeah, I always do this all the time, and 1 minus r is not entirely clear that it's negative to me, but that's really good. It's a really good thing for me to work on. I want to like be systematically kind of eliminating my mathematical weaknesses. Like, so, right here when I did this, if r is greater than 1, but wait a minute, hold on. So, we know that r is less than 1, though. She would be okay with the law. Well, I don't know if she would be. Taking the exponent with base r. I'm retarded and paying attention, so in the second line, this is fine. It doesn't flip the sign, does it? Because if it converges, we've assumed it's converged right there. 1 minus r is positive, so that's fine. This all seems fine to me, but we're still gonna, this still isn't like working out algebraically, because having n greater than this value just creates this like gnarly ass wrong inequality. Log base absolute value r. You should have absolute value around. Okay, I mean, yeah, that's fair. But like, is that really severely the problem, though? My ass is hella confused about that. I guess I should say right here too that we're doing that. Hey, we got 3 mods in the chat. Well, if r is less than 1, then taking the exponent with base r flips the inequality, so it will work out. Dude, oh my god. Yes, you're right, Johnny. Holy shit. Yes. That's true. Man, I was running on like middle school, like, oh yeah, multiply by a negative flips it, but it's anything. Exponentiating with a base less than 1 would flip the inequality. Oh my god. That's so true. I'm not updating that in my Scratch work. I'm updating that here. So exponentiating base R flips the inequality. Oh my God, Johnny. That's unreal. Depends on if the function you're applying is increasing or decreasing, right? But n is increasing. It's and 1 minus r. Rule of thumb, always use ln and not log base r. Technically, I said it first. Yeah, you did. Log base r is ln over ln r. Yeah, this is trivia class. All right, I got to bounce off to this appointment to get my ADHD meds looked at, which is, I don't know, probably important for some reason. But I'm probably going to stream later, so if you Europeans are still around. Also, what Big Pepe said about not using the log. Technically, I said it in a message before. Yeah, Johnny won. Johnny wins the contest, I guess. But yeah, so I would kind of like to look at this solved in the way that Big Pepe was talking about. I think not using a logarithm is probably better.